Orcs, the evil servants of the Dark Lord, hideous creatures of darkness, corrupted so far that their only desire is the extermination of all that can be good, and the only cure for their evil is to slaughter them all in turn. In all wars between good and evil, they were the most numerous minions, their endless hordes terrorizing the free peoples of Middle-earth since before the first sunlight ever shone upon the mortal world. But despite their almost universal presence, they remain one of the greatest mysteries of Arda. And though many loremasters among the houses of men claim that they descended from corrupted elves, we know that this is not the case. The origin of the Orcs is one of the things that Tolkien never really gave a conclusive description on throughout his life. According to the oldest lore, they were quite literally just dirt, formed in the depths of the infernal fortress Utumno by the Vala Melkor, the first Dark Lord, the master of Sauron and source of all evil. It was said that he fashioned his abominable spawn by binding slime and stone together in a mockery of the elves. Yet later lore changed this. Later it was said that the Orcs had actually emerged from the fallen Elves. It's said that in the early ages of the world, when the two trees shone over the lands of Arda, and the first elves had awoken at Cuivienen, Melkor had captured some of them, slowly turning them and corrupting them until he had literally bred them into the very first of those monsters, thus instilling the fear of the darkness into the elves. This is the tale that most of the loremasters know. But this was not the last lore given to us, for Tolkien wrote that even Melkor, once the most powerful of all the godlike Valar, would not have been able to deform the nature and fate of the children of Ilúvatar in such a way. In other words, he could not have taken from them their immortality nor the other traits which were so deeply part of them. Only Ilúvatar, the one and creator, would have been capable of such a thing. And so Tolkien concluded that the Orcs were originally nothing more than animals, which, through long breeding, had been given a humanoid form, shamefully modelled after the elves and men. These Melkor then taught how to speak, but since they had no soul like the original animals, they only spoke like a parrot speaks, a mere imitation of sound with no sense or greater intellect behind it. But this theory too had its problems, because, as the stories show, even the earliest Orcs were wily and cunning. They could plan independently and sometimes act intelligently. Therefore, Tolkien decided to mainly consider humans as the origin of the Orcs. This fundamentally changed the plot and the flow of the lore. Humans were supposed to awaken thousands of years earlier, not at the dawn of the first age of the sun, but in the first 1,000 years after the awakening of the Elves, before Melkor was besieged in Utumno. And thus it were not captured elves that Melkor bred and turned, but captured humans. The Dark Lord sent out his servants, the corrupted Lesser Maiar, to prey upon humans that strayed too far into seclusion or the dark places of the world, and capture them, bringing them to the dread fortress Utumno. There they would be deformed through black magic and cruel torture, breeding them as if they were dogs, until they came to be the monsters that later appeared and roamed Arda. The exact process of this nefarious breeding, however, is not known to elves nor men, and it was from this perspective that Tolkien mostly wrote his texts. That is, he only described those topics vaguely, and he scribbled down many more different assumptions about Arda than he wrote down definitive facts. And this is why it could also still be that the very first orcs emerged from corrupt, soulless animals. What is clear, however, is that the primal beast orcs that emerged in this way were sooner or later mixed with depraved and degraded humans, which led to the emergence of a new race consisting of smarter and stronger orcs that had a soul and were therefore capable of logical thinking and independent acting. Nevertheless, it is quite possible that a few corrupted elves were also mated to these orcs that had already emerged. Then there were the mightiest orc races to ever stalk Middle-earth, who may also have divine blood in their bloodlines. Because among the oldest servants of Melkor were the numerous corrupted but still godlike Maiar, such as Sauron and the Balrogs. The weaker of them appeared as grotesque beasts, like indeed giant orcs who acted as troop leaders and generals in the wars against the elves and men. And so Tolkien also reasoned that in the early ages of the world, these fallen divines mated with ordinary orcs, producing powerful, long-lived elite soldiers, far superior to any other orc race. Because although Tolkien wrote that the orcs had a rather short lifespan compared to the men of the West, the opposite is to be said of Bolg, the son of Azog, who was over 140 years old at the time of his death during the Battle of the Five Armies, and was still not showing any signs of aging, an indication that other species than humans were hiding in the infernal pedigree of some orcs. So, in summary, the theory that orcs originated from deformed elves is too simplified. Instead, they came from many corrupted creatures, such as different human races and animal species, bred together in various dark ways and with evil arts and black magics. Some of these original races may also have a small elvish or divine element, but, though hinted at, this is uncertain. Breeding did not stop at the emergence of the first orcs, however, with orcs being rebred with humans to create, among other things, the dreaded Uruk-hai, orc-men hybrids who were stronger and more enduring than previous generations and possessed the advantages of both races. In the end, it doesn't really matter which version you believe, because in the end, this disfigurement of the children of Ilúvatar and the creations of the good Valar had been the Dark Lord Melkor's worst deed, the very pinnacle of corruption, and something that started an eternal continuation of this evil in a search for perfection of these beings of evil, of these Orcs. Thus we conclude this chapter and this video. Did the knowledge surprise you? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed it and would like to learn more of the world of Tolkien, be sure to subscribe and click the bell icon to be notified when Mysteries of Westerness returns to Arda. This has been Irgikor Kuruvane, and I wish you all Namarie Meldonyar.